The average American spends about $200 a month on gas. Some of you are spending more, and I'm willing to bet that at least half of you are throwing away $100 of that every single month because of how you drive. Not because of your car, not because of gas prices, not because your mechanic did something wrong, because of habits you don't even know you have. Things you do every single day behind the wheel that are burning through fuel you already paid for. I've been watching people drive for 50 years. I've watched them pull up to my property with engines running rough, brakes worn to nothing, tires bald on one side, and fuel economy so bad they thought something was broken. 9 times out of 10, nothing was broken. They were just driving in a way that turned a 25 mile per gallon car into a 17 mile per gallon car without ever realizing it. That's not a small difference. On a car that does 15,000 miles a year at $4 a gallon, that's over $1,200 a year gone. That's a car payment. That's a vacation. That's money that left your bank account and turned into heat coming off your brake rotors and drag coming off a roof rack you forgot to take down in September. I had a woman drive up here last spring in a 2021 Kia Sorento complaining about terrible gas mileage. Said she was filling up twice a week when it used to be once. I rode with her for 20 minutes. She accelerated to 50 in a 30 zone, then braked hard at every stop sign. She had a roof cargo box from a ski trip 3 months ago still bolted on. Her tires were at 24 pounds per square inch when they should have been at 33 pounds per square inch. And she warmed up the car for 12 minutes before we left. I didn't touch a single thing under her hood. I just told her what she was doing wrong. She called me 2 weeks later and said her gas bill had dropped by almost half. None of what I'm about to tell you costs a dime to fix. You don't need to buy anything, you don't need to open your hood, and you don't need a mechanic. You just need to know what you're doing wrong. Number 1, I'm going to start with the one that surprises people the most. If you've ever put your car in neutral, going downhill because you thought it would save gas, you've been doing the opposite. You've been burning more fuel, not less. And almost everyone who does this thinks they're being smart. Here's why. Every car built in the last 25 years has something called deceleration fuel cutoff. When you're in gear, foot off the gas, going downhill, or slowing down, the engine computer detects that the wheels are spinning the engine instead of the other way around. So it shuts off the fuel injectors completely. Zero fuel. Your engine is spinning, but it's not burning a single drop of gas. The wheels are doing all the work through the transmission. Now put that same car in neutral. The engine is disconnected from the wheels. It has no way to keep itself running without fuel. So the computer kicks the injectors back on and feeds it enough gas to idle, somewhere around 600 to 800 revolutions per minute, depending on the engine. You just went from burning zero fuel to burning fuel, all because you thought neutral was the efficient choice. I've had guys argue with me about this on my property, showed them the real-time fuel economy readout on a 2019 Silverado. In gear, going down a hill, foot off the gas, the display read 99.9 miles per gallon, which is the computer's way of saying zero fuel. Popped it into neutral on the same hill, the reading dropped to about 25. That's not a small difference. Over a year of commuting, with even a couple of hills each way, that adds up to real money. And that's before you factor in the safety issue. In neutral, you have no engine braking. Your brakes are doing all the work alone. On a long descent, like driving through the Appalachians or coming down from the Rockies, That means overheated brakes, faded stopping power, and a repair bill for rotors and pads that wore out twice as fast as they should have. This is especially true on trucks and SUVs. A Ford F-150 or a Chevy Tahoe weighs 5,000 to 6,000 pounds. That kind of mass coming down a mountain grade with no engine braking puts enormous stress on the brake system. I've seen rotors on Suburbans come off a mountain pass glowing orange because the driver rode the brakes in neutral the entire way down. New rotors and pads on a truck like that run $300 to $400 per axle. Engine braking is free. Number 2, every winter I watch my neighbors sit in their driveways for 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes with the engine running before they go anywhere. They think they're protecting the engine. Their father did it, their grandfather did it, so they do it. And every single minute of that idle time is money and engine life going straight out the tailpipe. This made sense in the 1980s. Cars had carburetors that needed time to get the air-fuel mixture right when the engine was cold. If you drove too soon, the engine would stall or run rough. That technology has been dead for 30 years. Every car on the road today uses electronic fuel injection with sensors that adjust the mixture automatically the second you turn the key. AAAA tested this and confirmed it. 30 to 60 seconds of idle time is all a modern engine needs for the oil to circulate to every moving part. After that, the fastest way to bring the engine to operating temperature is to drive it gently. Sitting in your driveway does the opposite of what you think. A cold engine at idle runs rich, meaning it dumps extra fuel into the cylinders to compensate for the cold. That unburned fuel washes oil off the cylinder walls, dilutes the oil in the crankcase, and creates carbon deposits on the valves and spark plugs. You're not protecting the engine, you're making it dirtier and wearing it out faster, and the fuel cost adds up. The Department of Energy says idling burns 1/4 to 1/2 gallon per hour, depending on engine size and whether the heater or air conditioning is running. If you idle 10 minutes every cold morning for 5 months, that's somewhere around 20 to 30 gallons of gas a year, just sitting in your driveway, going nowhere. At $4 a gallon, that's $80 to $120 a year for the privilege of making your engine dirtier. On a Ford Expedition or a Chevy Tahoe with their big V8 engines, those numbers are even worse. Number 3, open your trunk right now. I guarantee most of you have stuff in there that's been sitting for weeks or months. Toolboxes, gym bags, cases of water, camping gear from last summer, bags of salt from last winter. You don't think about it because it's out of sight, but your engine thinks about it every time it has to accelerate, climb a hill, or merge onto the highway. The Department of Energy measured this. Every extra 100 pounds in your vehicle reduces fuel economy by about 1%. That doesn't sound like much until you realize how fast it adds up. A bag of road salt weighs 40 pounds. A toolbox with a decent set weighs 30. A stroller, a case of water, some random junk, you're at 100 pounds without trying. On a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla, that 100 pounds hits harder because it's a bigger percentage of the car's total weight. On a 4-cylinder sedan getting 30 miles per gallon, that 1% is real money over 12 months. But the weight in your trunk is nothing compared to what's on your roof. Consumer Reports tested this on their track, and the numbers were shocking. 2 bicycles mounted on a roof rack reduced fuel economy by 13 miles per gallon. 13. On a car that normally gets 30, you're now getting 17. That's almost cutting your fuel economy in half just because you left the bikes up there after the weekend. And here's the one that kills me. An empty roof rack with nothing on it costs you about 5 miles per gallon just sitting there. It's not the weight, it's the aerodynamic drag. Your car was designed with a specific shape to cut through the air as efficiently as possible. A roof rack destroys that shape and forces the engine to push through turbulent air at highway speed every mile, every day, every tank. A rear-mounted cargo tray only costs 1 to 2% because it sits in the car's aerodynamic wake instead of fighting the air head-on. If you're not actively using your roof rack this week, take it off. 20 minutes with a wrench saves you hundreds of dollars a year in gas. And here's one more thing people never think about. Driving with your windows down at highway speed. Below about 40 miles per hour, opening the windows is more efficient than running the air conditioning because the drag is minimal and the air conditioning compressor draws power from the engine. But above 50, that flips completely. Open windows at 70 miles per hour create so much turbulence and drag that your engine is working harder than it would running the air conditioning on full blast. The Society of Automotive Engineers tested this and confirmed it. If you're on the highway, close the windows and use the air conditioning. If you're in town, open the windows and turn the air conditioning off. Number 4, there's a good chance your tires are underinflated right now and you don't know it. Most drivers never check their tire pressure unless the warning light comes on, and by the time that light triggers, you're already significantly below where you should be. The warning system on most cars doesn't activate until you're 25% below the recommended PSI. That means you could be running 10% low for months and never see a warning. Every single PSI below the manufacturer's recommended pressure costs you up to 3% of your fuel efficiency. If your car calls for 32 PSI and you're running at 28, that's 4 PSI low, which is roughly 12% less efficient. On a car that should get 30 miles per gallon, you're now getting about 26. Over 15,000 miles a year at $4 a gallon. That's close to $150 wasted because of air that costs nothing to add. But the fuel waste isn't even the most expensive part. Underinflated tires wear unevenly. The outer edges of the tread make more contact with the road than the center, which means those edges grind down faster. A set of tires that should last 60,000 miles might only last 40,000 because they were running soft the whole time. A new set of tires on a RAV4 or a CRRV runs $400 to $600. You just lost 20,000 miles of tire life because you didn't check the pressure once a month. A tire pressure gauge costs $3 at Walmart. $3. You check once a month. First thing in the morning before you drive, when the tires are cold, and you adjust to whatever number is on the sticker inside your driver's door jamb. Not the number on the tire sidewall. That's the maximum rated pressure. The door jamb sticker is what the manufacturer engineered for your specific vehicle's weight, handling, and fuel economy. That $3 gauge and 2 minutes a month is one of the highest return investments you'll ever make on your car. Number 5, you already know that speeding and slamming on the brakes wastes gas. Everybody knows that, but most people have no idea how much it actually costs because they've never seen the real numbers. Oak Ridge National Laboratory ran one of the most comprehensive studies ever done on driving behavior and fuel economy. They found that aggressive driving, meaning rapid acceleration, hard braking, and speeding, reduces fuel economy by 15 to 30% on the highway and 10 to 40% in stop-and-go traffic. 40%. That means the person riding your bumper, gunning it to the next red light, and slamming the brakes at the last second is turning a 30-mile-per-gallon car into an 18-mile-per-gallon car. They're paying almost double for gas compared to someone driving the same car calmly. The Department of Energy broke it down to the pump. Every 5 miles per hour you drive over 50 is like paying an extra 27 cents per gallon. At 75, you're effectively paying $1.35 more per gallon than the person going 60. Consumer Reports tested this on their track with real vehicles and found that dropping from 75 to 65 improved fuel economy by 6 to 7 miles per gallon, depending on the vehicle. And here's the physics that makes it click. When you accelerate hard, your engine converts gasoline into kinetic energy. That energy is what moves the car. When you brake hard, your brakes convert all of that kinetic energy into heat. You literally bought gasoline, turned it into motion, and then turned it into hot brake rotors. The gas is gone, the energy is gone, and your brakes are one stop closer to needing replacement. Every hard brake is money you already spent, leaving your car as heat. The fix is the simplest thing in this entire video. Ease off the gas earlier when you see a red light. Let the car coast in gear instead of accelerating until the last second. Use cruise control on the highway. Your right foot is either saving you money or costing you money every second you're behind the wheel, and most people never think about which one it's doing. I drive behind people every day who accelerate hard for 200 yards just to slam the brakes at a light they could see was red from half a mile away. That's not saving time. The light doesn't turn green faster because you got there sooner. You burned the same gas, destroyed the same brake pads, and arrived at the same red light 30 seconds earlier than me, except I coasted there in gear burning zero fuel, and my brakes didn't even get warm. Add it up. $40 a month from driving too aggressively, $30 from speed, $10 from idling and warming up the car for no reason, $10 from weight you forgot was in the trunk and a roof rack you never took off, $10 from tires you never checked. That's $100 a month that most people are losing without even knowing it. $1,200 a year. I've been driving the same roads in West Virginia for 50 years. Mountain roads, 2-lane highways, gravel paths that would shake your teeth loose. My truck gets better fuel economy than half the new cars I see because I understand what wastes gas and what doesn't. I coast in gear down every hill. I check my tire pressure every first Sunday of the month. I took my toolbox out of the bed 10 years ago and I've never put it back. None of this is complicated. None of this costs money. And none of this requires you to be a mechanic or know anything about what's under your hood. It just requires you to pay attention to what your right foot is doing, what's on your roof, and how much air is in your tires. $100 a month is sitting right there waiting for you to pick it up. Stop leaving it on the table.